There's been any number of times that retailers have said to Marvel, don't do this, it's bad for the industry. And Marvel's been like, okay, we're going to do it. And it's like, oh, I'm mad at you. Like, okay, fine. I don't care that you're mad at me. Are you still going to order Avengers comics? Yes! Then be mad.
Come on and visit for any occasion. Don't keep Pat and Dal waiting. Comics and conversation. Keep the conversation moving along. Keep reading comics, keep your local store strong. If it's hard, then it's a job for the challengers. Comics and conversation, y'all.
From Challengers Comics and Conversation in Chicago, this is Contest of Challengers. And now, here are Patrick Brower and W. Dal Bush.
Yes, indeed, this is Contest of Challengers.
Oh man, were we recording?
A comics industry lack of business podcast on the Yak Channel Podcast Network.
We need like a light bulb in the studio that tells me when we're recording, because I don't always see you press the button. So sometimes I don't know when...
I pressed the button right before I said yes, indeed.
Oh, okay.
I didn't catch the stuff you just said.
Oh, okay, good.
I thought you could tell my shift of voice.
No. Whew. I mean, I didn't say anything super problematic, but I definitely was a little bit vulgar about the current coronavirus situation in the United States.
Yeah, I wouldn't have that be the lead-in.
I didn't think you would, which was why when you were talking...
My lead-in was the turn of phrase, the lack of business podcast.
It's true.
That was what I was emphasizing, and I'm afraid that this little conversation has taken away from it, so I'm pulling it back to that.
Gotcha.
To my funny turn of phrase.
It was a good turn of phrase.
Thanks.
I do appreciate it. I just got a little nervous there.
Sure. I mean, I did lean forward, and
I think I had my head turned. I legitimately think I was...
To be fair, Dal and I try not to look at each other at all during this recording.
I'm pretty sure I was looking to my right, so I didn't see your motion or anything. You just started talking in a more podcast voice, and I went, oh no, in my brain.
Yes, you missed Dal impersonating Boris Johnson.
He's got a catchphrase. If you're ever back in challenges, please ask us what Boris Johnson's catchphrase is. I'll say this, one of the silver linings, and I never know if it's right to say that there's a positive to the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak in the United States and around the world. But there are some minor things where it's been like, oh, if it wasn't for self-isolation and the quarantine and our business being shut down, these things maybe would not have happened. And some of them are positive. One of them is that with the opening of the second Challengers location in River North, Patrick and I really haven't had a chance to work together in
4 months.
About 4 months.
Yeah.
So it's something where, obviously we see each other a lot and we work on the podcast and we're constantly, dropping by stores that one another's working at to collaborate on things. But we're not really working together for hours at a time anymore, except now we are, because a lot of what we're doing is going into Bucktown and dealing with at-home delivery orders and shipping orders and people who are getting their books held and folks who want stuff off of our shelves that they want to pay for online and get shipped out or dropped off or what have you. So this week we've spent a few days
in the same store at the same time
for like 5 or 6 hours. And because there's no customers, there have been days in the past that Patrick and I would work together where it would be empty in the store for some reason, either on a less busy Tuesday or, a part of Wednesday where maybe we're between rushes of people. And we get a little punch in. We have in-jokes and we riff on things. And that's happened a few times this week where we've had the ability to sort of just goof around a little bit while getting work done. So yeah, as a result, I think because of all the BBC Radio 1 we've been listening to, we created a catchphrase for perennially beleaguered British Prime Minister and possible Auton Boris Johnson.
Most likely Auton.
Yeah, probably an Auton. So yeah, that's if should the store ever reopen and you're curious about what Boris Johnson's catchphrase is, and we don't have children in the store, please ask and we'll see if we remember what it is.
I think we'll remember.
Probably. I feel like we'll still be saying it for a while. I don't think it's ever going to go 100% out of style.
This is the point where I need to tell people that I still have a little bit of a cough.
Sure.
Like, I've had this tickle in the back of my throat, and I keep having a, not like, a deep throaty, but just like a
A tickle. Where just your back of your throat gets going, you need to cough it out.
But it's been all week, and each time like, oh man, come on, this is the wrong time to have a cough.
Yeah, it sucks. I've mentioned before that I have seasonal allergies, so things that happen to me this time of year as the seasons start to change, a little warmer days are interspersed with cold days, pollen gets in the air, all that stuff. A lot of the exterior symptoms of that resemble things that you don't want to have people seeing you have symptoms of right now. It's not respiratory problems or anything like that, but sometimes
cramps.
There can be a cough. There's some bleeding from the eyes. Not a lot, but just enough where you're like, that seems like more blood coming out of your eyes than you normally have. And then you have to say, yes, I'm sorry, but I don't have a virus. I'm okay.
Yeah, this is just a normal thing I go through.
Yeah, I have a virus. It's just not COVID-19. It's a different thing. It is not communicable, but there is some blood from the eyes.
I mean, we've all been there.
I don't know if any of that was in good taste. Probably not. Anyway, Patrick, how was your... what was the last time we recorded? Is this a start of?
it's a new...
We did a thing in the...
Yeah, this is the start of the episode.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how... I don't know. Maybe we should plug that in. So
the chronology of what we're talking about, I'm just trying to get on board with.
Not only did we do an extra episode on Monday night of this week, we also did an on-location recording, on locations recording on Wednesday for about 15 minutes. You sent me the file, but I haven't even looked at it.
From the Challengers, I'm trying to think
roving mobile unit.
It wasn't. No,
that's not what you said.
It was the Challengers
portable studio.
No, at least stop saying it. I have it on the tip of my tongue. The Challengers mobile recording studio / comic delivery vehicle was what it was.
I had the mobile part right.
Yeah, you did. It's true.
But I don't know where that's going to go in this episode.
That's fine. But that was just when we were out on Wednesday delivering books for people. And we'll do it again this next Wednesday.
I mean, deliver, not necessarily record.
No, deliver is what I meant. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I don't know if we will or not. It depends on what the route is and if we get someone else to do it.
Oh, yeah, I guess we'll see.
I guess
you and I would probably get in a car at the least. Do you not want to?
Well, no, I guess at this point we should just plug in that part so we know we don't talk about things that we know we talked about, like leading up to it. So
that's okay. I don't remember any of that.
Right here.
So by request, Patrick, we are recording part of Contest of Challengers in the Challengers mobile studio / comics delivery vehicle. Is that right?
I cannot believe the number of people that are just out.
It's a very nice day in Chicago, weather-wise, not virus-wise. But yeah, we are out delivering comics to folks that asked us to deliver their comics to them this Wednesday, March 25th. 25th? 25th.
Yeah, 25th.
Time has lost all meaning, like it has for all Americans. But yeah, it is honestly pretty beautiful out here. And you can tell by the number of people that are walking way too close to each other and sitting on park benches way too close to each other.
Way too close to each other. My goodness.
This just feels like, I don't know, a really nice spring weekend. Like, it's not. We're all supposed to be under plague quarantine. I guess technically us included, but in my mind, we are quarantined inside the Challengers mobile studio / comics delivery vehicle. So yeah, we are out dropping off books for folks that subscribers and non-subscribers that asked us to drop off books for them.
On the one hand, it's a very nice day.
It really is.
On the other hand, the number of people that wanted the delivery option made me think we should not have chosen this.
Why?
We shouldn't have offered it.
What do you mean?
Because it's just so much time out of our day.
The response was definitely higher than we anticipated. And since we've never really done this before, this is all pretty uncharted waters for Americans in general and small business owners in particular. We didn't know how much work we were making for ourselves.
Not just the delivery, but every aspect of getting people their books or getting books paid for and held or dropped off.
Like, we offered people the options of all of these things. We will send you an invoice, and then we will either hold your books in the store for you, we will package them up to be mailed out, or we will deliver them to your place of sheltering if you shelter inside the Chicago city limits. We planned on about an hour's worth of packing up and getting ready to go, and that's cutting some corners and doing things in a way that we're kind of working on a bit of the honor system with some folks. we were off in our estimate of how long things would take by about 3.5 hours. So that's kind of where we're working as far as how the day's going, like where our schedule's at. We're about 3.5 hours behind where we want it to be.
Yeah, and yesterday, same thing. It was such a difficult process trying to navigate all of this and prioritizing the books that needed to be shipped out, the books that needed to be delivered, the books that needed to be charged but held.
Yeah, we had set a soft limit of, you got to tell us by 10 a.m. on Wednesday if you want your stuff, shipped or delivered or whatever. After that, it's going to be another day. And that turned into a very hard limit right away of like, wow, we have too much to do already at like 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
The next couple hours, like that's going to have to be it. So even people who got in at like 10:13, like 8, we can't.
Sorry,
we just can't.
cut off. Hey, we're parked right now to drop off a new delivery, and the car behind us has a parking ticket on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor Lori. Do you want to hold on to this and keep talking?
Sure. Let me unlock that for you.
I got to see who we're at. Are we at
right there?
Okay.
Yep. And it is the Blue House.
Okay. 20. What is it? 2938.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dal had said uncharted waters before, and that made me think of Shannon Waters, the co-creator of Lumberjanes from Boom Studios. And unbeknownst to some of the people on the delivery route, your books were delivered by Kat Lay, who is the current co-writer and cover artist of Lumberjanes and the entire creator of the amazing Snapdragon. That is a graphic novel that is out right now and is getting rave reviews. She's from Chicago. She volunteered to help. Another friend of ours, another customer, a good guy, Raphael, offered to help, and we had no good way to divide this after the two routes were split up. And I feel bad because we never got back to him to say, hey, not right now, but I'm sure there's going to be some more. And it looks like Dal is having difficulty. Yeah, so when we're delivering books, obviously we want to keep a safe distance away, but like all package deliveries, we don't know, oh, there we go, the door's been opened, and we want to let people know, like, hey, your books are available, and you can get them, and we're not encroaching on your personal space. All right, someone is bringing them into the house, and they got their mail. There, good job, Dal. Yeah, like the second guy we got to, Dal just threw the book, because it was a locked gate, he just threw it near the stairs. But by the time we were pulling away, he was coming out to get it. So that was a successful one. Somebody came out.
They did, yeah. And when I said we had books for this person, they said, oh, yeah.
Okay. So because I was talking to the kind people listening, I did not
get a
start
chance to prep our next trip.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we've got a pretty good system, and there's thankfully two of us, which means that while I am dropping off stuff, Patrick can be plugging in the next address into his...
Unless I'm talking to people.
...smartphone, and that way, by the time I get back to the Challenger's mobile recording studio / comics delivery vehicle, we are able to get on our way. I think we're making pretty good time as far as what we were hoping to do. Obviously, again, we are way behind schedule of our mental schedule. But yeah, so far, unfortunately, one person, we had to shoot them an email and say, hey, I'm sorry, you are in a completely different part of the city. We can't get out there today. And they were very kind to say that they understood, and that when we said we'd be out there tomorrow, they were okay with that.
We're going tomorrow?
I felt a little bad about that, though, because it's just like the whole point was that you have your books today, and you paid the money, and you did everything right. And we did it badly. Like this, there are definitely some problems in execution on our end, but again...
I think
this is brand new for us. Yeah, we genuinely did not understand what we were getting ourselves into. Because, and I'd mentioned this. Did we talk about our other delivery person today yet?
I did, yes.
Okay, so I'd mentioned this to comics industry superstar Kat Lay. She writes, she draws, she delivers.
Heyo.
But I'd mentioned that when we announce things, we always kind of miscalculate. Like, there's things that we're like, everyone's going to care about this, and no one does. And there's things where it's like, no one's going to care, and then everybody does. And this was definitely the latter, where we're like, we'll give this an option. We don't think a lot of people are going to take us up on it. And it was like a deluge. Like, there was so many people were, letting us know if they wanted their books held or shipped or delivered. So, yeah, this was a thing where we kind of immediately got in over our heads and had to kind of recalculate in our brain how much effort this was going to be. Like, it went from, we can do this and it'll be like kind of like not a full Wednesday for us, but whatever, to this is going to be as much or more work than a regular Wednesday.
Yeah, I will admit now, though, because it's such a nice day.
Mm-hmm. It's nice to be outside,
and because we are, it's sunny,
yeah,
and we're doing a thing. This is kind of fun. Like the
this
idea of our store means so much to you that you want your books, but it means so much to us that we are going to hand deliver you your books.
Well, not hand deliver.
Right. Personally drive to...
We're going to leave outside your residence your books, and then I'm going to step outside the range of the coronavirus to, say, here's your books, have a good day, take care.
Or also have a comic book superstar deliver your books.
Yeah, way faster than we did.
Oh my goodness.
Man, man.
We are in a car.
Yeah.
She was on a bike, and she was so fast.
Yeah. We were getting comments from people that they already gotten their books while we were still not even knee deep, but ankle deep in like processing orders and stuff.
Ankle deep means
like they were piling up around our ankles, and then eventually they piled up around our knees. And
I thought it might mean that like people might mean it the opposite way. Like,
yeah,
we did.
I think most people would assume it the opposite way, which is why I decided to go a different way, I guess. But in general, yeah, she was astoundingly fast to the point where once again our miscalculation was, well, we can't ask Kat to do this much. This is so much work. And then it's like, oh, we could have given her twice as many things to do, and she still would have been done before we left.
Yeah. And in fact, she kind of shamed me into letting her do this.
Yeah.
Because she volunteered, and she donated a bunch of her Lumberjanes comics for us to give away to people during this time.
Yeah, and that'll be going out with the next batch of things that we do, which I guess...
I feel like I want to hold those off for kids.
Well, that's the thing.
For families.
That'll be in the next batch of things. So the batch of... I guess I'll talk about this now, because it'll probably be going up in a few days.
Hey, we're at Revolution.
Hey, look at that.
The
Revolution Brewing.
Not the restaurant, the tap house.
Sure.
Tap room.
Yeah, and also not Revolution Calling, the song. It's actually, this is a business in Chicago. One of the next things we'll be doing is we'll be posting on our website an up-to-date list of our current inventory for graphic novels as genre section PDFs. So you can basically take a look at a list of everything that we have in stock for like crime mystery or, let's say, sidekicks. So if there's anything that you want for your family, if there's anything you want for kids, I'm just going to go ahead and say that while supplies last, any graphic novel order from Sidekicks that we take in will get a free Lumberjanes comic, courtesy of Cat Lay.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. So that'll be a thing that we'll have up on our website and publicizing and probably sending an email to subscribers within the next few days. Obviously, stuff like this is kind of keeping us from being able to do more. Legitimately, just getting this stuff prepped today was an entire day's work. So anything else we want to do,
how
back burner.
Stressed the two of us have been.
And hungry. I did not get a chance to eat a lot last 2 days.
Cats, have I been so more ornery than before.
Yeah, so we were doing all of our work today at Challengers Red in Bucktown. And it was, again, we were so behind and we were so under the gun and behind the eight ball and any other metaphor or aphorism you want to use.
Of being behind or...
Of being just crushed by an amount of work that we'd miscalculated on. That at a certain point, I'll be honest, we stopped answering the phone because every phone call that was coming in was more complicated than we could deal with right then. Like the phone calls were things like, I want to sell action figures. Are you guys open? Hey, I was hoping to get this thing that I didn't submit an email on but want to do over the phone. And it's just like, no bandwidth for any of that. Sorry,
right.
No.
And the number of people that came by just to try to come into the store and buy stuff. The city's on lockdown, people. Although it definitely doesn't look like that right now.
It really doesn't feel that way from the people out on the sidewalks, which I hope some of this is just folks that have been cooped up for the last, week or so, taking the opportunity to go outside, walk around. Even the UK citizens are allowed to have 1 hour of exercise a day outside.
Yes.
They're allowed to have that. I got to assume that our lockdown is probably not any more stringent than that. Patrick has been playing a lot of BBC Radio 1 around me the last couple days because we've been working together and that's the thing to listen to. So I know probably more about the UK's coronavirus situation and response than I do America's.
Although, to be fair, you have enjoyed not the music, but the DJs.
I do, yeah. I mean, to a degree.
Sure.
But yeah, so that's...
I mean, I expect you to start listening on your own.
Oh, golly,
regularly.
that is 0% going to happen.
How can you have a day without Scott Mills and Chris Stark?
It feels like I haven't had a day without Chris Stark and Scott Mills in a million years.
Well,
Every
anyway,
day.
we just wanted to give people a little glimpse into the process of this. I'm sure there are a lot of comic stores across the country, across the world,
Yeah.
that are doing something similar.
Yeah, we didn't
But
invent this.
I bet there's way more stores that aren't, and I just want to point out we're one of them.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, I mean, I don't think I mentioned this
People
before.
use the word hero.
Yeah. People throw around the word legend a lot, and I wouldn't say it, but I would accept it being said about and around me. So no, I don't think I got a chance to mention this before, but it is legitimately heartwarming to, drop off books outside people's houses and, get a chance for them to come out and grab the books. I mean, it feels like
From a distance.
Yeah, from a distance. I mean, I'm on the sidewalk there in their doorway. But it feels a little bit Christmassy. Do you know what I mean?
It kind of does,
Like
yeah.
like you're Santa Claus. Like you're like, hey, I brought this for you. The things that you paid me to bring you.
And I have
and
a
they're
Santa
excited.
Claus beard and mohawk.
They're
to go
excited
along
to
with
see it. And it's. I mean, that's. There are little silver linings for this situation of like, obviously, things are very in flux, and this is not something we're going to get a chance to do for the next few weeks because there are no new books coming out. But it is a little fun to be able to drive around and drop people's books off and have them go, oh my God, books. Like, it is. It's a little lemonade out of lemon situation, you know? Yeah.
And we're going to wrap this part up because we've had the windows closed the whole time to make it easier to hear us, and it's very hot in this car.
It's true.
So here's the next segment. So we recorded Monday night and gave you a whole new episode.
Yeah.
And we recorded Wednesday, and now we're recording on Friday.
It's true.
I legitimately have difficulty remembering what day it is.
Yeah, everybody
because
does,
of
I think.
how thrown off my schedule is, and it's just. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say it's just that it's a never-ending pile of work, and usually days are separated by the jobs we need to do for the store.
Yeah, I think one of the weird things is that for you and I, we are still working.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, they either don't have the option of doing that or they're working from home in a way where the days can blur together. For us, I wasn't expecting it to feel so pronounced that I would so quickly not know what day of the week it is. But yeah, I mean, I think it's the fact that it's the same tasks kind of every day, where it's just you're waking up to emails from people that need to be responded to about their books, about getting things sent out. You're sending out invoices. You're prepping stuff at the store to either go out in the mail, get delivered on Wednesday, get picked up at the Chicago Board Game Cafe to be held at the store, and then you're kind of just endlessly repeating that process as more emails come in and more requests come in and questions come in about those requests and all that sort of stuff. So it feels like instead of the normal 15 or 20 tasks we would do throughout a week that are all slightly different or feature different components, like shelving books versus doing online stuff versus, doing the new release board or the new release mat or whatever. This is just, the day is just this block of getting orders out. Like, that's kind of it.
To recap, we are closed as a storefront.
To the
People
public,
cannot come into the store and shop. People can look through the windows and see the things we have. We are not closed for sending product out, and we are offering a variety of ways for people to get that product. If you are a subscriber, you hopefully already get our weekly emails so you know what you have waiting in your box, and we have a variety of ways you can get those books. If you're not a subscriber, you can email requests based off of our new release lists every week, or Dal is painstakingly putting up PDFs every night of the actual graphic novel stock we have in the store, broken down by genre. It's just a text PDF. You'd have to look through all the titles and things, but at least it gives you an idea of saying that, hey, we have that in stock, you could get that.
Yeah, it's not necessarily updated every night. It's mostly updated
every hour.
Every single minute of every day I'm doing new PDFs, and it's tough because they take multiple minutes to do, so I'm always behind.
This podcast alone is putting you so far behind.
Oh my God. No, I'm working on them right now on my phone.
Oh man.
I'll basically
I don't know that because I'm not looking at you as we record.
I'll do new PDFs as stock changes. So, for example, I did them tonight because not only did we sell a bunch of stuff, but we also restocked a bunch of things into Bucktown from River North, so our stock levels are different.
Yeah,
We've got things.
I took the picture, I just didn't post it.
Oh.
But for the weekly restock photo.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Oh, do that tomorrow.
But I am more stressed out, I think. I'm more visibly stressed out by this than you are. You're keeping it together more. But this constant deluge of orders, which is great.
Yeah.
Thank you everybody who's ordering books.
One of those good problems to have.
We're basically working twice as hard for half the money.
Yeah,
but that half the money is important.
Yeah, and to be clear, this is just Patrick and I working. Everyone else associated with Challengers, everyone who's helped us out, they are all on shelter-in-place protocol. We are not asking or allowing any of them to come in and work. That is not happening right now.
Not allowing, huh?
Not allowing.
Oh, I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
I didn't know that was the case.
I think it's irresponsible for us to ask them to come in and do any work. You and I...
Well, we're certainly not asking them.
Right. I mean...
But what if Kent begs?
No, Kent should stay home. They should all stay home and stay healthy. They also probably, almost all of them, have jobs to do for their day jobs that they're probably asking them to continue to work from home. For us, I don't feel bad about us going in and doing things like packing up and shipping out, because it's basically like, I think of Challengers as kind of a home office at this point.
Sure.
And I couldn't be barred from going to my home office. Again, the public isn't coming in. We're not interacting with people besides Patrick and myself. And Patrick and myself are usually interacting. So it's not like we're exposing one another to things that we would not normally expose one another to.
Yeah, we've said this all along. It's one of us gets it, the other one has it.
Yeah. So it's not more risky for us to go into Challengers in Bucktown and work on stuff than it would be to not do that. So in that case, I feel comfortable doing that stuff. That said, we are not doing things like curbside pickup. We are not doing like walk-up stuff. Like, we are leaving books locally for people at the Chicago Board Game Cafe Tuesday through Saturday for them to pick up. But we are not physically handing books to people. Even the delivery stuff, that's getting left on doorsteps, that's getting left on railings. It is contactless delivery. We are not handing you your books. So even in trying to get books to people, we're trying to honor the restrictions that are in place by the state of Illinois to keep everybody safe. That is important to us.
There are numerous comic stores in the area that I know that are doing curbside delivery or pickup or whatever it's called. We are specifically not doing that because we are trying to do our part to... Oh, man, I hate using the terminology, but flatten the curve.
Sure. Did you hear what the state of California did to their comic shops?
No.
Comic shops in California were doing a curbside pickup.
Yeah.
And the state of California said, immediately stop doing that, and if you don't, we're turning off your utilities.
Okay.
So they went, got it.
There were stores, I know, like in the Temecula area that were still open. Or in the Rancho Cucamonga area.
I think if you go to, I can't remember if it's the Beat or ICV2, but one of them had basically reports from LA stores that were told, immediately stop doing that.
Yeah, and you can do curbside pickup here. Mm-hmm. From what we've read, we don't want to do it.
Yeah, it's for two reasons. Some of it is just I don't feel 100% comfortable walking up to someone's car and handing them books.
Yeah.
Like, for health reasons. But the other one is just the logistics of, that means we would have to be at the store for X amount of hours, hoping somebody shows up that we can hand them their books. Like, you'd have to schedule a window, and then you have to be there for that window, and that person has to show up and not call 5 minutes before the window closes saying, I'm 15 minutes out, can you wait longer? So it's... Doing that makes everything kind of more cumbersome, and it's a length I don't think we feel comfortable going to when there are other options like, Wednesday at home delivery, shipping books out, leaving them at a location that's going to be open for hours each, for 5 nights each week, that you can just go pick them up at. That's kind of the curbside pickup. That's the stuff I feel comfortable doing. Curbside pickup at Challengers? No.
No. And honestly, the curbside is a bus lane, and we don't want to block the bus lane, especially if it's between 4 and 6.
That's true. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. So, going backwards just a little bit more, and it seems to me that there are a lot of people, and not necessarily people listening to this, the people that are listening to this podcast have a vested interest in the comics industry.
Sure.
Or a curiosity, so they're a little bit more aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
But the number of people that, like, A, on Wednesday didn't know that we were closed, don't realize that stores are closed, and B, just the number of times today I had to email people who are asking about next week's books to say there are no next week's books.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, which, I mean, we emailed all of our mailing list. Like, it's not just subscribers, that's everyone who's on our mailing list on Thursday as normal to say there are no new books indefinitely. Like, no one knows when it's going to start up again. Not for a few weeks at least. So at the very least, not April 1st. There will not be new physical comics in comic shops.
What I have learned is that Diamond does have, like companies already delivered April 1st and April 8th's books. Yeah. So those exist in the warehouses.
I think Boom posted about that tonight.
Yeah, that's where I got it from.
Okay.
Thank you, Morgan.
Thanks, Morgan. Obviously, thanks to all the companies that are doing what they can for the whole industry while this is going on. Different companies are doing different things. So here, I guess we can talk about this. This is the big one. Obviously, comic shops in different parts of the country have been shut down to the public. Again, things like delivery and shipping are available and maybe holding books until stores reopen. But in general, a lot of stores in the United States and potentially around the world are not able to open to walk-in traffic, which means they really can't service a lot of their customers. Compounding that, printers are shutting down. Diamond as a distributor is shut down. So for the most part, that's really kind of put a hiatus on single-issue comics. Here's the thing that's kind of the tricky part.
Dun, dun, dun!
That is not affecting book trade distributors who basically carry graphic novels for non-comic shops and even some comic shops. So things like graphic novels are still coming out. Those are at places like Ingram and Simon & Schuster and Consortium and Random House and everywhere else. Like, that stuff is still happening. So there are collections and original graphic novels that are going to be coming out, just not in comic shops that get their comics through Diamond. Additionally, digital comics. Now more than ever, there's people who are looking for stuff online, and it's not 100% clear what's going to happen with single-issue digital comics. Certain companies like Boom have said they're not going to be releasing single-issue digital comics while print single-issue comics cannot come out.
And Dark Horse.
And Dark Horse. I'm sure there's other ones. So I apologize to those companies if I don't mention them. The rumor, and I don't really like talking about rumors, but things are moving so fast in this industry that a rumor one day is a fact the next day more than ever. The rumor is that Marvel Comics is basically going to continue to distribute digital comics while print comics are unable to come out. Marvel is the company that seems the least
willing to work with retailers?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was going to drill down a little further. The least comfortable with Diamond's policy of not shipping out new product. It feels at times like we could get an email from David Gabriel saying, if I broke into Plattsburgh and unlocked the doors for you to come get your books, would you be able to do that? Marvel seems more insistent about getting books out to comic shops than any other publisher that I'm seeing having a retailer-facing message. So
much so that they're calling stores and saying, you take books if we send them to you, right? Like if we could get you books, you'd want them, right?
Which, again, one of the things that we talked about in previous episodes is we don't, because we can't sell them to anyone, or we can't sell them to most people. And that's the thing. Like, if Marvel or even Diamond was saying, do you just want books for subscribers that you know can pay for them? Then I'd say, yeah, of course I know they can pay for them. But I don't know who's going to buy them and who's not. And having to pay for a week's worth of books when maybe 15 to 20% of my customers at best are going to be motivated to try and make payments online to get their books to them. It's 80% of my weekly books that are just going to sit on a shelf for maybe hopefully selling when doors reopen, and I don't know when that's going to be. And that payment, that 80% of not being able to sell those books, I can't do that for consecutive weeks. I don't think I could do that for 1 week, let alone an indefinite number of weeks. So yeah, while Marvel's like, but we want to get books to stores. If my doors can't open, I don't want your product. I have other product I can try and sell. I would rather have no bill and no product than product and no one to sell to.
Right.
I mean, it feels common sense to me, and why Diamond probably shut things down. So yeah, rumor is Marvel is going to be doing their digital stuff, and it's interesting because it mirrors in a lot of ways what other industries are going to that can't necessarily service the customers they do. When it looked like theaters were going to be having to limit the number of tickets, and people were less inclined to go to the theaters. A lot of studios said, well, we're rescheduling our films. Like, if no one can come out to see the movies, we might as well move the movies to when they can. And then when theaters had to shut down, it's like, well, it's a good thing we did that. But then some studios were like, okay, but we still want to make money. So maybe we sell that movie that we were going to release to theaters to Netflix, so Netflix can show it. Or maybe we don't wait for the theaters to reopen so people can go see these movies. We just offer them for $20 on iTunes. So Marvel,
that's a lot of money.
It is. Depends on the movie. I mean, if Marvel said Black Widow, we're going to sell Black Widow. We can't show it in theaters. We're going to sell Black Widow for $20. I'd probably buy it.
I mean, I guess if that meant I had access to it too, it balances out a little bit.
Sure, yeah, if more than one person could watch it.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah.
I understand their
something
prices.
like Bloodshot. No,
I just think it's a lot.
It is. I mean, it's, again, it depends on, if the equivalent is, I would only pay $10 or less if you have an unlimited plan with your movie theater to go see this in theaters, twice as much doesn't make any fiscal sense to most moviegoers. But if multiple people would watch it, or if you would have bought it when it comes out on digital release or Blu-ray anyway, then sure, why not pay for it ahead of time? Like, again, Black Widow, sure. But, like Bloodshot, no, I absolutely wouldn't do it. So, yeah, I think every industry is kind of in this phase where it's like, well, if it was 2 weeks, we can wait, but if it's going to be 2 months, it's kind of, they're treating it like every man for themselves at this point. And Marvel more than most was always going to be the one that looked after Marvel more than they looked after the rest of the industry. That's been Marvel for decades. So it doesn't surprise me, but like we're going to release product anyway, but we're just going to give you a better discount thing. I'm not surprised, but I'm still disappointed. It's disappointing to me that Marvel is like, we're going to do what we have to do to protect our investment. When it's like, we want there to still be an industry when this is all over, and these actions make that less likely. Doing something like releasing it digitally when stores can't sell it and people can't go to their stores makes fans that are on the fence more likely to just pick up those things. And then potentially that makes them less likely to go into stores later, which is okay for Marvel but bad for stores. And if those stores start going away, that's going to be bad for Marvel. So it feels incredibly short-sighted for Marvel to just go, yeah, we're just going to make what we can right now.
If you're the customer who is buying it as a physical object that you can hold as a single issue, and then that becomes unavailable, and you realize, oh, I could get it digitally, and you do that, do you come back?
That's my question. I don't.
Do you double dip and rebuy it when it comes back? Or
no,
do you,
definitely
you just,
not that.
You pick up, let's say you buy 2 issues of Amazing Spider-Man on digital, and then you just don't have those 2 issues in your collection? Can you do that?
So that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of different types of comics buyers. There's collectors who have been collecting single-issue comics in print for a long time, and they may dabble in digital if they can't read the comic physically, but then, yeah, they will absolutely buy copies because they need to have, X-Men 10 and 11 in their collection. There's people, though, who just want to read the stories, and for them, they may get those issues digitally and then not buy them in print, or they might not come back to print at all if they're already in the habit of buying digitally, and going to shops seems still problematic,
I fully believe that there are people who hadn't had the ability to embrace digital or just thought, well, it's not for me. But now when they're thrust into it...
Yeah, when you don't have a choice.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah, and again, it's the thing that it will protect Marvel in the short term of being able to get some money from this, to find some way to get comics that they've already created out to fans. But it's so detrimental to the long-term health of the industry to do that, to basically say, if you want to read these comic books, the only way to do it is digitally. Because, again, whatever percentage of fans don't come back to stores after this, that creates more instability in the print market, and that puts more stores at risk. And those stores are the bulk of Marvel's, like, let's say, I'm just going to make up numbers here just for the sake of conversation. Let's say $50 million are Marvel's business in the print market, and $15 million are Marvel's digital business. Right now, Marvel's making $0 in print. and they may be making $15 million in digital if they keep going with digital. But their hope is that maybe some of that $50 million in print could find its way to digital, so maybe digital becomes 20 or 25 million. You know, again, not everyone's going to switch over. Some people are going to wait, not going to be interested, never like digital. But let's see, you can pull some of that. Okay, now they're making 25 million instead of the 65 million altogether they would have, which is something. It's some way to keep going. But if you do that, if you pull that money out of the print market, when the print market reopens, suddenly the print market is 40 million instead of 50 million. And that 40 million is not enough to keep all these stores open. So less stores means less orders overall, which means the print market starts to become 30 million, then 20 million. Then it's completely unsustainable, except for maybe a few major accounts or, I don't know, some sort of like almost print on demand option. And now you've got an overall print and digital market that's only 35 million.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't wait, because you needed to pull some money right now. And I don't know the financials. I know every industry in the world is getting hammered by the economic effects of the COVID-19 outbreak. I get it. Like, I'm reading newspapers, I'm reading websites. It's none of this is surprising. But I gotta think that a company like Marvel, the largest superhero publisher in the world and a part of Disney, one of the biggest entertainment conglomerates that's ever existed, can weather a couple weeks or a few months of this without completely losing their minds. Like, I don't feel like they need to rush this stuff out to any market that can take them.
But Dal, they need quarter-on-quarter growth.
I think that is, pursuing that at this point is insane. Like, that's not the world you're in right now. Like, it's like when I'm getting sales emails from clothing companies, like, read the room. Don't give me that right now. I'm saving every penny I can. I get that you have to make money, but don't do this like, hey, time to buy some new spring clothes. Like, it's definitely not. Yeah.
Which is a weird thing to say
because
as someone who owns a retail store and we rely on people to buy things.
And we're going to be sending more emails out telling people, hey, we've got stuff you can buy. But I think some of it, I think, is tonal. Where I think for us, a lot of it is not kind of begging people to buy stuff so much as saying, like, hey, we're here if you want us. Like, I've made sure that whenever I've written something up, like, we sent out a thing to all of our subscribers, I think, letting them know about the different delivery options. I made sure to put one of them as, don't worry about it. Like, do this if you want. If you want your books, we're going to help you find a way to get your books to you. But if you don't want them, and you're stressed out thinking that you're going to miss out on things, or that we're going to put books back, like, don't worry about it. Like, it's frustrating to me because Marvel's thing is very worry about Marvel. Everyone should be worried about Marvel. When it's like, everyone kind of needs to take care of themselves to the extent that
Marvel
they're not...
should be weird about us.
Yeah, well, to the extent that they're not, like, harming the rest of the world. Like, Marvel's kind of... Marvel needs to get paid no matter what. Is like, settle down. Like, we're all dealing with stuff. Like, everyone's got bills to pay and everyone's getting hurt by this. So... this thing of like Marvel's going to release it digitally to get this week's money is like, man, it just, as always, it feels really disappointing that Marvel can't show a little bit of foresight, of long-term goals instead of just the short-term get the money right now philosophy that they've had for decades. Like, you'd hope that this would break them of that, and instead it's like it's just exacerbated that attitude from them. Like, they're doing it more at a time where it's like, don't do that. We all need to work together. And Marvel's like, no, you guys need to work together. We need to take care of ourselves. It's like, okay, great.
Yep.
Always thought that was Marvel's philosophy, but it's good to have it in print. Got it.
Yeah. Yep. And, of course, it is another few days that we've heard nothing from the AT&T Warner Brothers camp.
Yeah. DC, the number 2 superhero publisher, has said absolutely nothing. They have released some stuff of, like, their younger readers and middle grade stuff. They've done little I don't know, Facebook things and study guides and stuff like that. So kids are having to stay at home because of school's closure can have some entertainment and some education. But it's like, what about your comic books. How are those happening? Is this still happening? Yeah, DC.
And I know that it's not DC Comics wanting to stay silent. I know they've been working and sending proposals to their parent company and being shot down. But there should have at least been, in my opinion, at some point up to this, hey, we understand you're frustrated. We're really trying to do something for you.
Yeah, just an acknowledgement. We're working on it. That's it. Obviously, you'd want more than that, but at least if you get that, it's like, okay, they are aware that we have concerns about the industry and its health going forward. But instead, it's just like they've decided to say absolutely nothing, which has made it 40% worse? Maybe 40% worse.
Yeah, definitely.
Not twice as bad, but it's still definitely a percentage worse than it should have been. Yeah, but for us, I mean, we're just kind of doing what we can. We've got us talking to a friend today, and they had expressed concerns about Diamond not releasing books to stores, and I said, we still got a couple $100,000 worth of books on our shelves. People haven't read all those.
That's true, and they can see the PDFs on them on our website.
They can.
It's funny to me how people have been very complimentary in saying, like, look at how they're innovating and look at all the things they're doing, and I don't see it like that. I definitely appreciate the compliments, but I just see it as
we're just hustling.
Yeah, that's it. We're just plugging away.
We're just hustling. That's all. That's all we can do. A lot of this, it's not like we had a roadmap. No one does for a situation like this. I mean, this has never really happened in American life before, in the sense of like at least the last 100 years, and even before that, American life looked very different back then. So in modern American life, in the last 100 years, this is brand new. So we're all figuring it out. We're all day by day trying to figure out like what's best. And I mean, I hope what we're doing is helpful to people, and we're trying to keep a perspective on that. Of like, obviously, we want challengers to still be here going forward, and we'd like to be able to reopen our doors when the outbreak ends and we're able to service the public again. But I mean, that needs to be a concern, not the concern. The concern is everyone's health. And there still being a country after this ends. And then secondarily, I'd like there to still be a comics industry. So if there's things that we have to do, sacrifices we have to make for the greater health of the comics industry, like Diamond not releasing books because a lot of stores had said they would probably go out of business if they were forced to pay for books they couldn't sell. That's a sacrifice. And it means that some stores that could sell books maybe don't have books to sell for a little while, but it means that there will still be enough accounts to support Diamond as a distributor and the variety of publishers that we have now. The Marvel thing is real depressing and real frustrating, that Marvel has kind of no allegiance whatsoever to a major part of their company, that they don't care if the comics industry survives this at all, as long as they're still around to make Spider-Man comic books.
And there's certainly concerns that we have for ourselves and our business. Sure. And for example, we don't have the money to pay for the Diamond bill that's due this upcoming week.
No.
And fine, I mean, I'm sure they understand, but it's just that selfishly, I don't want to lose the terms that we have.
Right.
The terms are very, very, very beneficial to us.
Yes.
And it would be sad to see that go.
Mm-hmm.
Our rents are in question.
Oh, yeah.
And we already had, of the two landlords, one of them emailed and said, hey, what's going on? Can we help you? Like, what's going on? What can we do? Not quite like that, but
right. It was
do you have any
like,
concerns?
Yeah, touch base.
Are you well?
What are you seeing?
I thought you were.
Yeah.
And then they called as well.
Mm-hmm.
The other one sent us our bill in the mail, in the email today, like, hey, here's your invoice for next month.
Yep, there you go.
You know what's going on, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
no customers.
Realistically, I don't think we'll be able to pay either rent until we're open for a month after all of this.
Yeah.
At best.
Yeah, because it's not just a thing that the closures happened and suddenly like we went from making money to making no money. There was about 10 days before the Illinois state closures happened
where business was just grinding down.
Already people were like, I don't feel comfortable leaving the house. I don't know when I'm going to come get my books. And we were still, our doors were still open. So a lot of the things that we're doing now to get books to people we couldn't do before because we had to be in the stores. Except we were in the stores for people that were not coming in. So for about a week there, it was just like, well, nothing's happening. We're not really making any money.
My last Monday in River North, the last Monday that I worked, I made $13.
So selling, what was it? Card sleeves?
Card sleeves, yeah. 2 packages of card sleeves.
So zero comic books and graphic novels?
Not 2 packages, but no comic product whatsoever.
Yeah.
I do want to mention something that 2 different publishers are doing right now. Blackmask and TKO Studios.
Oh, okay.
Both of them have a program where if you buy things from them through their own website, like direct from the publisher, but mention a comic store, there'll be a field to say like, hey, do you have a comic store you want to promote? They will give that comic store 50% of the proceeds.
There's another program I wanted to...
Literally, if you go to Blackmask or TKO Studios and you wanted to try, I mean, we have their books as well, but if just in case, if it's a thing that we don't have, or you just want to see what their selection is or whatever, and you plug in challengers as you're checking out, that will count as a sale from us, which is an amazing thing that these 2 publishers are doing that they don't have to do, and they are literally just giving money away that would have been 100% theirs, but they're sharing it with the store.
Vault has one that I wanted to call out that I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah?
Obviously, a lot of publishers are going to be impacted by the COVID-19 outbreak because they can't release product to stores, which means books that they have completed, they don't really have a way to get to fans. Obviously, unless you're Marvel, in which case you can burn the rest of the industry down as long as Empire #1 still comes out on time. For other publishers that have the long-term health of the comics industry in mind, Vault in particular is doing something I thought was clever. They're doing the local comic shop gift card initiative. If you buy a gift card at your local comic shop, Vault will send you free advance copies of Heavy #1 and 100 Wolves #1 months in advance. I don't know. This is an email that we were sent, so I don't know if you can go to their website and see this. I don't
remember seeing that.
This is Vault Comics. So basically, they had 2 comics coming out in upcoming months.
In April.
100 Wolves.
Goodness, yeah.
Mike Cole and Tony Akins.
Our good friend Tony Akins, who has been just a swell guy reaching out to seeing how we're doing, coming up with some fun ideas. And if there was a way we could manufacture our own masks, he wants to do the art for them.
Nice. The other book is Heavy by Max Bemis and Eric Donovan. These obviously are not going to be able to release to stores until stores reopen. If you purchase a gift card for any amount from your retailer, you can submit proof of purchase along with the comic shop you purchased the gift card from to Vault. And Vault will send participants an email containing free advanced digital copies of Heavy #1 and 100 Wolves #1. Free of charge.
That's great.
Yeah. I don't know if Vault has it on their website or not. I hope so. I'm gonna click this link real quick and see where it goes.
While you click that link, I'm gonna use that segue of gift cards to talk about gift cards for a second.
Yeah, this is a SurveyMonkey site called Wufoo. It's Vault Comics, all one word, .wufoo.com. And from there, it's just a field you fill out, letting you know all this stuff. And they send you some books, some free upcoming comic books for free.
That's pretty great.
Yeah.
So, gift cards. We sell physical, actual gift cards in the store. Any amount. You can put whatever you want on it. We load it up. It's reusable. Great. But we've also been selling electronic gift cards for years as well, with a company called GiftFly. And we had a link on the main bar on our website, and we would promote it occasionally. And you could buy it for yourself or somebody else. It's an electronic gift certificate, basically. It's not a gift card because you don't get the card. There's no actual card. But still, it's a line of credit, or, we'll just call it a gift card to make it easier to understand. And we've been using this company for years. A friend of mine reached out recently and said that they had bought a gift card from the store. And I said, oh, that's great. Thanks so much. And we'd other people ask if gift cards were a thing we would want right now, purchases of. And a lot of other stores are really pushing gift cards. And we're never going to stop anybody from buying one.
Right.
But we're not going to solicit it.
Yeah, honestly, like, for me, what I would prefer, like, we're not at the stage where we are kind of...
begging for money.
Begging for money. I was trying to think of a better way to put it than that. But we're
soliciting for payment.
Yeah, despite everything we just said about not being able to pay our rent or diamond bills, we are not quite at the point where we're begging for money. If you do want to spend money at Challengers, we would always prefer you to get something for that, like a comic book or a graphic novel, than just throwing money at us for a future purchase. If you don't want something right now, save your money until you do. Then buy it then. So if you do want to support Challengers, again, you can get graphic novels from us. Check the website. There's a news item right there. Tell you what we got in stock. Tell us what you want. We'll deliver it. We'll ship it out. We'll drop it off at Chicago Board Game Cafe, whatever.
We'll shine it up real nice, turn it sideways.
Yeah. So you can get gift cards, but it's not a thing where that's something that we are actively encouraging.
But we're not going to stop you from doing it. So anyway, this friend, club member, Bob, thanks Bob Milanuzik.
Thanks, Bob.
And he had mentioned that he bought it, and so I noticed that it didn't come into our account, our bank account. So I logged in to look out and find out that numerous people had been buying gift cards, some of them very large.
Yes.
And A, it had been happening for like the last 2 weeks, like the last week and a half. B, we did not know about this because we didn't get any money from it.
Yeah, our online gift card vendor did not pay us out.
So after phone calls and emails, it turns out that the sudden increase in activity on our account made them nervous, and we needed to re-verify our identity. And it was a bunch of stupid steps that, as of this recording, they have told us it is worked out, but it'll take, I don't know, till Tuesday or Wednesday for us to really know for sure.
Yeah, on Friday they said 24 to 48 hours, not counting weekends.
Yeah, business hours.
Yeah, so it's like, all right. I especially love that they didn't tell us. We had to investigate it and go, why aren't we getting paid for this?
Yeah, so they got worried about our identity, so they didn't reach out to us and say, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
When, what do you think is going on? There's a ton of people who are trying to help support a store that is closed.
Yes.
So we've immediately switched online gift card companies, and
sold one this morning.
We should. Oh, did we really?
It seemed like it.
I mean,
there was, before you went into the store, there was a round number payment.
Oh,
which means someone probably just went in and went, that much.
Oh, interesting. I'll have to look. And again, it's not a thing that we know automatically.
No.
But it turns out that the company that we're using now, it's Square. It's the same people we use for all of our processing.
Yeah. And
it's so much more cost effective. Like, GiftFly was taking about 10% of each purchase.
Yeah.
There was an option where we could have made the consumer pay for that.
Right.
We think that's not great.
Yeah. But yeah, we're losing a lot less per purchase now, which is nice. And also, just for quality of life, like, it's easier for us if it's all integrated with Square, not only for the speed of payment processing, but also because, like, that's what our kind of register is built on. That's what a lot of our in-store processing uses. So being able to just loop all that into the same interface is a lot easier than having to go to a separate interface just to do online gift cards.
So I sent an email to everybody who bought one saying, hey, I'm really sorry that we didn't acknowledge this. You guys have been great. This is completely unexpected. We didn't know it was happening.
Yeah.
And if you were thinking about gift cards and we kind of put you off of it with this conversation, there's another way you can choose to financially support us if you think it's worth it. And how is that, Dal?
Oh, you could be a Patreon subscriber on patreon.com/challengers.
That is correct. You could do that, and you could have your name mentioned in these thank yous that I'm giving right now, because there's actually someone new in this level.
It's
there's
a
been
much longer list.
A few new people. But I would like to thank Dal's mom, Diane Bush.
Thanks, Mom.
Arun Singh from Boom Studios. Chris Burton, who is a longtime patron but has bumped up his level, and a longtime subscriber. So thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
Ryan Hecht. Bridget Neville for being our top tier supporter with a level that she created herself.
Aww.
Marcus Nasso. Mark Hammond from All Yeah Comics. Christina McChrystal, our new best friend Jacob Sorelli, and I say new because he's been on this podcast before and in person. Robert Lane, the aforementioned Morgan Kaiju Perry from Boom Studios, my brother George Brower, Artie White, Michael Romanenko, the entire Springham family, who is nothing but a delight even in these trying circumstances, Jose Villagomez in his brand new bonus Green Lantern comic, Tom Nagovin, and Tom and Melissa, thank you for today's order. It was wonderful. Our sister store, as I like to think of them, Mitchell Davies from All Star Comics, Michael Lee, Ryan Alcock, Matt Armstrong, Robert Burns, who we mentioned prominently last episode, someone named Chris. Just that. That's all we got. Chris.
Just Chris.
Don't know first or don't know last name.
Probably Chris Evans.
Probably.
Probably. I mean, it seems like that's the most likely scenario.
Wow. Okay. And Ben Hur. Ben, you've been shopping with us for years, and I never, ever, ever get your last name right. Dad, you want to take a shot at it?
Caligulus.
It is not Caligulus.
Yeah. Ben is a vampire robot from the planet Cybertron. His name is Caligulus.
All right, Ben Hur Caligulus. There we go. Thank you for your support, and anybody else could do that as well. Also, quick shout out to Mike Armstrong from Raid Pop.
Oh, thanks, Mike.
For jumping on board as well.
You got that so fast. How do you remember all these names like that? It's amazing. Alacrity.
I got confused because we have a Matt Armstrong. So I'm like, wait, did I just say that? No, that's a different person. And we had a question that somebody had asked.
Oh, gosh.
Via Patreon, and I didn't print it out, so I don't have their name, so I apologize. But it was a follow-up on the speculator questions from last time.
Do you remember what the question was?
I do remember the question. The question was, we talk about speculators a lot, but
yes.
Do we differentiate between people who are in it for a long-term investment versus immediate flippers?
I mean, so first of all, it's fun to get questions like this right now because it feels so, archaeological. It's so distanced from the way we live the world now.
Time.
Sometimes I'll follow a few different Disney touring blogs. I think they're fun to read about. I just like that community. I think it's neat.
What is that?
People who go to the Disney parks, like Disney World or Disneyland.
Okay.
And it's touring strategies, how to get the most out of your trip to Walt Disney World. Specifically, Easy WDW and the Disney Tourist blog, I think are both interesting. Easy WDW is funny in a mean way, and I really appreciate that.
Okay.
But it's also really data minded. But anyway, it's sometimes those folks, Easy WDW especially, will have weeks of trips they've taken to Walt Disney World that they're breaking out into different posts. So you might have something where it's here's something from 2 weeks ago that could take a 1-day trip, could take 5 days to do blog posts of. So there's stuff right now where it's here's what touring was like a couple weeks ago, and it's a
couple weeks ago.
The parks are closed until nobody knows when, mid-April, later, and even then, who knows what capacity they're going to open to, or how many people are going to go on trips, or all that stuff. So it's reading about stuff like this. I mean, it's like reading about someone's trip to Venus. This has no bearing. This is totally speculative. It's not a thing. It's all science fiction.
But they went on this tour and they took notes. They're going to use them.
So I haven't been reading a lot of those posts because it's just I don't even go to Walt Disney World, but this just feels too far for me. Even this is too irrelevant to my day-to-day life now. So it's fun to talk about stuff like speculators because it's oh, they can't go to stores. There's no new comics coming out. What? No, what? I don't know that I can ever tell the difference between people who are flipping and people who are hoarding. I guess I think of hoarders more as people who need to get books that they're going to hold on to for 15 or 20 years to try and sell.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
I do.
I think it's, I would guess, I almost said speculate. I would guess that maybe 90% of the people that are buying comics for investment are flipping, not hoarding.
Yeah. Ultimately, the answer to this question is no, we don't differentiate. In our mind, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. I look at them all as the same.
Yeah, I guess I feel a little bit more judgmental about folks that are immediately flipping it. Like, if they're not even holding on to it.
Yeah.
If they're just like, I know this book goes for $20 online, so I'm going to buy as many of them today as I can. It's just like, I hate that more than someone who understands the market a little bit and is like, you know what, this is a good investment. I know that this character or this creator or this series is going to be important and valuable for the next decade, so that eventually it's going to be worth a lot of money. Like, that speaks to me of someone who at least understands or appreciates the medium of comics as an art form, as opposed to someone who's just like, I can buy it for $4 and sell it for $20. I'm going to do that as fast as I can. That I dislike that a lot, because that could be anything. That could be, sports cards. It could be like, I don't know, apple pies.
Yadro Christmas bells.
It could be anything, and that sucks. That makes comics feel irrelevant to me in a way that I find distasteful.
Well, earlier in this conversation, I had never thought of this before, but if comics switch to an all-digital format and there's no single issues anymore, I'm out.
Yeah, I think I'd probably be a lot less into it.
I'm a huge fan of comic books.
Yeah.
Those wouldn't be comic books to me.
Yeah, I don't know that I would. I certainly wouldn't read as much. Yeah, I don't know that I would 100% quit, but I'd probably be a lot less into it as a thing. I wonder if that happened, if things would eventually just shift to an all-you-can-eat Netflix, Spotify model, If that were the case, I'd probably be, like, I would maybe do, like, the Marvel Digital Limited thing, where I could just read whatever Marvel comics I wanted.
Hey, man, when's the last time you watched something on Netflix?
Even though Marvel single-handedly might be destroying the comics industry and my livelihood, there might be a point where I'd still be like, yeah, I want to read X-Men comics. So, I mean, I can be a total hypocrite on that. I know a lot of retailers are doing the we will remember this thing about Marvel, and I've said it myself. And certainly if Marvel makes decisions that are antithetical to the long-term health of the comics industry, it'll impact how I view Marvel as a company forever, in a way that it would need a complete managerial changeover for me to give them the benefit of the doubt again. Like, anybody who's an executive right now has blood on their hands. And I'm interested in kind of what the market's going to do, because there are retailers that are taking it very personally, using phrases like blood on their hands. But if this doesn't destroy the market, and if everything reopens, I think there's a lot of stores that are still going to be like, but I can sell 100 copies of Spider-Man a month.
I mean, we can't.
No, but they're out there.
Sure. Yeah, they are.
Like, I mean, if we sell, 120 copies of X-Men a month, I don't know that I want to cut that to sub-numbers only. Like, I still have people who are going to walk in off the street, and, I mean, this is a much longer conversation than we want to have at the end of an episode.
This is also in direct contradiction to the way you did the order back last week.
It's true. I just mean, like, if everything kind of gets back to normal.
Sure. Okay.
There's this feeling of, like, the people who walk in aren't going to know or give a shit about the choices Marvel made to the detriment of the market. They're going to come in expecting to see X-Men comics. And I know some retailers are very okay with doing the, no, it's morally wrong for me to stock X-Men comics, and here's the reasoning why. But I don't know that I want to do that. I don't know that I want to give a lesson on business ethics to every person who comes in asking to read the new X-Men comic.
I mean, this is all speculation. We have no idea what the future's going to hold.
I'm just saying, like, because I'm already seeing that. Like, if Marvel does their digital thing, you know that Comics Pro is going to have a response. And it's going to be a very strongly worded thing, maybe a little bit more diplomatic than all the things I just said about Marvel, but it's going to be in the same tone of, do not do this or else. And it's like, I don't know what the or else is. Like, if Marvel is basically saying, we are abandoning your market for one that's still functioning, I don't know what leverage you have over them. What are you going to do, not order Marvel comics? You already can't. Like, what? Your only hope is that there is a market afterwards for you to take it out on them in. And Marvel, as a publisher, has never really seemed that keen on working with the retail community. At least, again, the last couple decades, they've really seemed to not treat that as an option. So, yeah, there's been any number of times that retailers have said to Marvel, don't do this, it's bad for the industry. And Marvel's been like, okay, we're going to do it. And it's like, oh, I'm mad at you. Like, okay, fine. I don't care that you're mad at me. Are you still going to order Avengers comics? Yes! then be mad.
Yeah, all right. As you said, a little heavy for the end.
Yeah, I'm like everything going on in the comics industry. Partially, I'm mortified because of the ramifications of it on my own ability to take care of myself financially. But I'm also fascinated because we've never seen stuff like this, and every day is like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Nor do I, but I'm sure we'll talk about it. Thanks for listening.
And keep reading comics.
This has been Contest of Challengers. Thanks for listening. Keep reading comics. Challengers is located at 1845 Northwestern Avenue in the Bucktown neighborhood of Chicago. 773-278-0155.
And in the River North neighborhood of Chicago at 750 North Franklin Street, number 103, 312-285-2252.
Keep up to date with new releases and events at challengerscomics.com. Like Challengers Comics on Facebook, follow @Challengers on Twitter, and help fund this podcast at patreon.com/challengers.